here at myathlete headquarters with Katy Taveira, our favorite nutritionist, and we're gonna make a small podcast about your adventure, because I think there is a very useful example in it. Because okay, now you are a nutritionist, you studied a lot in the recent years, but it's not your first degree. Your career didn't start as a nutritionist.
No.
And even though you're very young, there is, I think, something like a lesson through all this, that people shouldn't be afraid of changing paths, changing careers, following their dreams, even if they are over 30, or even if they have a very successful career at that point in their lives. So can you please tell us a bit, what were you and what have you become?
Yeah. First of all, I'm 45 years old, 44, almost 45.
Okay, so, I didn't want to say that. Because
I'm very proud of
nobody
this age.
can tell.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Okay.
I feel 25, sorry.
Yes.
I feel 25. Now, my story, I'm going to go way back. I'm not going to make it very tiring, but it goes back to high school, where I wasn't a perfect student. However, my teachers there did encourage me not to go through science and to go through more of the social sciences, business, and so forth. So when I started my university and started my career, I did not go through any mathematics or science or biology or any of this. I started with business and social sciences. I got my first master's in leadership and hospitality. I had a really great career, a successful career, and I loved it very much. However, as I got older, as we change as humans, because we do change, I started enjoying running. I loved running. So as I was running and as I wanted to get better, I started reading more about running. And of course, nutrition and running go hand in hand. There's not one without the other. So I started reading and studying a little bit more, until the point where I was so interested that while I was working during the day, I was also getting my first degree in nutrition science in the evening. I got my first degree, and I got to a point where I was able to fully stop working in the business, in the hotel industry, and start working as a nutritionist solely. I think the key here is passion. And following your passion, as scary as it is, because I do have 2 children, I support them fully. So it's being able to balance everything and having your eye on what you want, your eye on the dream. So I went to do my second, my 4th university degree, my second one in nutrition, and I just finished it recently. So now I'm a clinical dietitian and athletic sports performance nutritionist.
Good for us.
Yeah, and there's nothing better. There's nothing better, and it's and my goal now is to continue my studies. There's no way I'm stopping, and aiming for more of a biochemistry, molecular biology, that area. So I can see that as I continue to study, I continue to see that I'm enjoying more the medical side, and I'm changing as a human. Even at 45. I'm going even further and further, to the point where I definitely will get my PhD at some point. Okay,
yes. I wish you the best, but let's not be judgmental on your school teachers, because
no.
I think this is something that's got to do with our minds. If you connect mathematics and science to your degrees and the way you're going to finish school and all that, perhaps it's not it's not very charming or very motivating. But some years after, when you see that this is something you can use in order to gain more knowledge, or to be more efficient to your consulting athletes and all that, mathematics and science are very important. Then it's the same brain, but it's a different approach.
Definitely. I believe that every single challenge and every single strength that I have gone through in my life has brought me here. So there's never a regret. Everything has brought me to this place where I am right now. And I'm grateful for every single moment, every failure, every success that I've had until this point. And I look forward to many, many, many more. Definitely.
There are some problems though in everyday life, like the lack of sleep, being tired.
Yes.
There are some of your, I don't know, duties in a way. I don't like the word, but I don't, English is not my mother tongue, so I use words similar. And for example, if your kid is sick,
yes.
you have to sleep less if you want to study more. But people, I don't think they understand the joy and they see or they remember, because that shift isn't something that usually people do, especially in Greece.
No.
In Greece, you begin as in marketing, and you end up your career in marketing.
Yes.
So you have knowledge as it was served to you at school. These people, they don't understand, and they don't understand even that for running, swimming, playing soccer or whatever, because they link this in the way they used to see it as kids.
Yes.
So yes, nobody liked as a kid to stay inside and study. But now, when you're a grown up and you are being sincere to yourself, you understand that perhaps reading is something that you want to do very much.
Yes.
Perhaps being alone in late at night, writing is
yes.
something that changes over the years.
Yes. I think, George, that the people are afraid for failure, and it's also economically. For example, you cannot, for me, going back to school, it's also a sacrifice. I don't buy this, and I'm paying towards my education, because education is expensive, and making sure that my kids have everything they need, and I also have this for me. Of all of this, if there's one thing that I learned, is that the most important thing is for me to be okay. For me to always have a goal. I don't run as much as I used to, as I did before, and that's okay. And that's okay, because I'm fulfilled with other things, and I still make running a priority, but I don't do 30-kilometer runs anymore. I do 5-kilometer runs for my physical health.
Yes, this is another misunderstanding here,
yes.
because 5 kilometers are a lot for some people, and there are a lot. 5 kilometers are a lot.
Yes.
In general.
We do what we can. We do what we can. I haven't run a marathon in 3 years now. It's gonna go before. And I think that I'm ready to start thinking about one next year, because things are settling down now again since I finished school and my kids are older. You're looking at me now because you're just gonna run a marathon soon.
Yes, but that's not the problem. The thing is that I know that there's another degree coming.
Yes.
And you never know what's gonna happen to you. And I also wanted to assure you that nobody's going to press charges to you if you don't run a marathon in the next 3 years also.
I see all of you doing it, and I enjoy watching everyone doing it, and I enjoy the process. I understand how hard the marathon is, because we constantly say marathon is trauma for the body, but also it's the process. It's going to the race, it's going to the different cities, it's being there with all these thousands of people. It gives me goosebumps. It still gives me goosebumps.
Yes,
so
but
it's still
I'll
there.
tell you something else though.
Yeah.
Because I've been there, and you will be there. There is a moment when you support your thesis, your PhD, and you have the committee in front of you, and they have their judgment, the final judgment, and they salute you as a fellow teacher. Now I'm having goosebumps, and you're going to have goosebumps, and these goosebumps are nothing compared to a marathon, because it's another kind of marathon, much more difficult than the actual marathon. You know that, we are at myathlete, we know that with a scientific approach and being consistent, you can finish a marathon. Everybody can finish a marathon, but not everybody can finish a PhD.
Yeah. Well, that's the next goal for me. So maybe before I turn 60,
15 years from now,
I'm doing
I don't think so.
long-term goals. I'm sure it's going to be sooner.
I don't think so. I think you're going to do it faster, because we are now we know what we want.
Yes.
So to me, even greater than you should eat this or train like that is having an example, having someone in front of you that chased his dream, her dream, in your case, and you know that you can chase your dream, whatever the dream is.
That's right.
It's a matter of Greek culture that we are afraid of changing paths.
You know, George, in the universities in America and in Canada, there are many elder people there, many elder. you see a lot of 60-year-olds, 65s, and they're with everyone else and they're embraced by the culture. When I was in school now, I was the oldest one there. I was 42. And I felt very old. So many times I did a lot of online lessons and so forth, and I did a lot of things outside of the university because I just felt always that I was very old, that I did not belong there. Of course, the teachers embraced me. Everyone embraced me.
And the students, I think.
Yes. Oh, they loved that I was there. I'm sure, because they asked me questions and so forth. It was a great atmosphere, but I just felt very old there. And this I had to get it out of my mind because it's my complexity. But everybody was so young.
Yes, I know. I remember now when I was doing my master's, we had a fellow student that was at my age now. And now I realize that it looked to me as he was a bit old for that.
Yes.
But he was a great spirit and we all liked him, his opinions. We wanted to know what his thoughts were. So I don't know, perhaps there is not in the way of influencing like most people say, or inspire or lead by example, but sometimes listening to a good story, not a success story, a good story, makes you want to do something different to yourself. So let's hope this podcast motivates some people, not particularly big things, but small changes, or I don't know.
If it's in your mind, write it down and make it happen and set a goal. Just steps. It doesn't have to be a PhD, it doesn't have to be a master's. It could be, like you say, running a 5K. It could be losing 1 kilo. It could be anything. Write it down, share it with the people that you love.
It could be visiting your grandparents more. It could be visiting your, I don't know, your friends, seeing your friends more in this era. I don't know. Small steps.
Small steps and make it happen.
Yes.
Because it can happen.
Yes. And you can think of it, making the scenario in your mind before you go to sleep. It's always
George,
helpful.
It's funny that you said that. I just thought of something that listening to the Olympic athletes from Paris, when you watch their interviews, and most of the athletes that they say, what was on your mind before you win the gold medal? And so many times I heard the Americans, because I followed a lot of the Americans, say, I knew I was going to win. I visualized it. There was no other option for me. And this visualization is so important. And I think it's knowing it in your mind. And if you fail, you fail, okay. Yes. But make it happen. Make it happen in your mind. See you finishing the finish line.
Yes, put some energy in this. Let it grow.
Yes. Like make it happen. See it always that you have passed the finish line already. And then the job is halfway done in my opinion, because it's all here.
It's the hook. You are hooking yourself.
Definitely.
And it's gonna work.
Of course.
Thank you, Katy.
Thank you.
We'll talk again.
Oh, of course.
We'll do more podcasts for you, and especially for nutrition, because we have the knowledge here and we're gonna take advantage of it. But at the moment, I thought it would be better to start with a good story. Your story, Katy.
Thank you, George. Thank you.